eye on your lower bracket champions thus far, taking home the win in the best of 3 up against Direwolves. Sadly, we will be saying goodbye to that team thus far for the split. They played so valiantly in that last game too. It really was any team's game up until about 5 or 10 minutes, really. Mostly because Camille top lane tally.
Yeah, I think this draft that Ion have prepared was really, really nice. I really like teams that can play side lane, or comps that can play side lanes, and also, you know, have a lot of team fight pressure, and this is what they have shown, and this is why I think Major's bot, or Ziggs in particular, is quite underrated and probably one of the stronger champs on the current patch, just because a lot of the champs that are strong right now suck into this champion.
Do you think this could be a new sort of system for you, Skibby? Like, we've seen so many times, it's just all these teams playing full team fights. They look at these big wombo combos, which you're seeing on your screen right now. But Ion decided to say, hey, look, exactly what Tally said. Camille, Ziggs, tower tanking beasts, but split pushes as well that can really sit in the side. Is this what we're expecting to see maybe moving into the meta?
I think certainly it's always been there for the taking, and definitely a lot of these teams are quite comfortable with it, but it is the case that you are like adding extra layers where you have little room for error, right? So majority of the time it is the case of just go for the 5-man wombo combo, hit them with the tanks, there's a front line, and get the game done, and that's essentially what it was for Direwolves, right? But I think that really threw a span in the works. It's like, we don't have anybody that can deal with this Camille, and how many times did we see Direwolves send 3 people there, they couldn't kill him, or he would even just TP to the other lane and be like, catch me later. So yeah, certainly on this occasion, I think it just sort of exploited some of the champion weaknesses that Direwolves had.
And I feel like we'll talk about this in a little second, but I think the Ornn pick might not have been the right call when the Camille was picked up early, and we'll talk about that in the draft section later. But Ezreal's still doing so much damage up there with the likes of Jovi on this beautiful Corki with the mustache. It's just like, how do you even compare like these two players? Like, because I think it was just so difficult for Emphis to really have that impact. Those shockwaves are phenomenal, but that's all it really felt like it was, Tally.
Yeah, I think that's the story of Emphis, right? He always struggled in the laning phase, but he always just had these, you know, really nice, impactful shockwaves in his team fights. He always waited for the correct moments, and unfortunately, it just, you know, the gold lead was just too big. He was unable to find those big shockwaves before his team fell behind such a large margin. And if you do not come out of laning phase strong as this mage, you just struggle so much on the side lane as you are a mobile champion. And, you know, pair that up with the Hextech Ultimatum, the Inferno Bomb, it's lights out for you.
Yeah, well, lights out, but sadly it is lights out for Direwolves. But on the other side of that, in Team Arn, we have Hexflash joining us on the desk for a post-series interview. Hexflash, you got there, mate. We got to the game 3. You won it. How's the team feeling? Is the morale up?
Yeah, the morale is definitely up. Not the cleanest of games, but at least we got the dub, so that's fine.
Got the dubs, man. Like, you can take that to the bank, and that's fine. Now, I want to ask, before we get into anything, like, so you just played Leona. Obviously, you know my thoughts and feelings on this champion. How were you feeling in those games? Because you played it every single game, and I would say your first and third game, you were pretty exceptional. You were landing everything.
I wasn't landing everything. Maybe the camera wasn't penned properly. But yeah, the champ is really strong. Honestly, in one of those top fights, I didn't expect to get one shot by Oriana. It did 1k damage to me, so yeah, the champ's just really strong. Like, so tanky, just heal from Warmogs, you play 2-round fights, and yeah, it's good pick, good blind pick.
Well, look, I'll be honest. I'll admit it. I was enjoying the gameplay a little bit. Look, you don't hold me against it. Leona gameplay's not too bad. But I guess, how are you feeling throughout this whole split? Like, you're now in the lower bracket, but you're moving forward as well. How have you feel like you've evolved over this split as a player?
That's a good question. I guess I'm probably better at team play now, and I have better comms. I've still struggled with the laning, so that's something I need to work on. I definitely have improved in some aspects, but not as much for the laning as I wanted to.
Yeah, well, it's all good reflection, right, Skimmy? It's good reflection to know where your weaknesses and strengths are.
Well, that's it. I suppose I want to sort of dive deeper a little bit on that talking point, right, in terms of macro. I think we've heard from a lot of the teams below the top 3 that we've all discussed here. That's what makes them so good, is their team play, their macro, their understanding. Obviously, in that last game you played, it was a triple TP setup, and we saw even during the series, right, where we had like double TPs from you, then double TPs from them, all ganking towards the bot lane. Does that feel like the biggest difference coming out of that Grand Zero series that you could apply for tonight? It was that we're more methodical, we have more control of the map, we we have more options. We're not just like shoehorned into one play. If it doesn't work, GG.
Yeah, we're pretty flexible on different comps. So we did pick the Ziggs. It was a kind of like a pocket pick. So I'm happy it worked out. Yeah, the macro.
They look good. They look good as well. I mean, me and Tally were both very happy.
Thank you very much, Tally.
Cinema, absolute cinema. And I guess my question is, I think Pike and Skimmy covered that series pretty well. So I want to dive into your next series as you have secured yourself, that next best of 3 against the winner of Antic or Fury. Do you have any thoughts or like feelings about that series? Is there, a particular team you want to avoid, due to like playstyle clashes, or do you think it's going to be a very close series or a one-sided series?
I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty one-sided, but I mean, Antic did lose to Fury, so maybe Fury is the kryptonite and they get 2-0'd. We don't know, but I want to verse my old teammate Foreigner in the one more time, because we used to play on Iron together. So hopefully I can 2-0 him and, take his Taiwan trip.
Ooh, exciting.
I like it. Well, we'll have to wait and see how they're going to do tomorrow, mate. But again, you played so well tonight. Super chuffed with your performance. You should hold your head incredibly high, and we look forward to seeing you play later in this week too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. Look, again, I'll bite my tongue. His Leona gameplay, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that first game in particular was a whole new Hex Flash that we haven't seen before, where he was rotating first. He was at these team fights. He was doing the good Lord's work, in my opinion. So hats tip to him. Just don't play Leona.
Pike. Okay, these players, they show up and it's their job to win, right? They got to play the most OP champ every single time, no matter what.
No.
It's going to be Leona. Every time Leona's up, it will be Leona.
You have to find a new champion to get upset about. Like,
right.
Where's the Fizz? And everyone's like, Pike, there's no Fizz.
Nah, they're not going to play Fizz, man. Fizz is horrible right now. Don't even worry about it. It's fine.
But you know who's not horrible? Leona.
I thought you were going to cook something completely different.
Yes,
no. Just run it back. Just run it back.
Camille. I was like, oh, yeah, true. Well, no, let's look at our MVP of that series as we round out that first one of the night. And it is Doraemon, just absolutely beast on that Camille in that last game too, but fairly consistent across all 3 games there, Tally.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the key point for me. It was the consistency that he showed throughout all the games, especially in that second game. He was still having impact on Renekton in those team fights, and in the first and third game where he was, he is left on the island. A lot of these games, Ion doesn't really play to him, but he does accrue these own leads in his own 1v1, and he does draft the champion that punishes the enemy comp quite well every time.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think the kill participation, at least you're there for 50%. Like, that's across all 3 games too. So he's making sure he's at these plays. Damage and gold share, fairly good too. But again, he's just one of those star players on this roster, Skimmy, that does the job.
So he does do the job. Yeah, it was fantastic to see that diversity, right? Obviously, you played a Camille into Tien, and Tien's like, how dare you? That's my best champion. Let me humble you real quickly with like a laning Lee Sin. Different beast coming into today, right? Run it back again. And yeah, Direwolves didn't really have the same lane responses to counter it. The Ornn obviously built to do one thing, get to late game, hope that you can give enough gold to your teammates that they can carry, but it was a sinking ship, almost like quicksand up in that top lane. It was just a case of not if, but when, really. And yeah, the Camille really stole the show.
Have you ever thrown a rock into quicksand?
No, I have not.
I haven't either. That was just a random thought that came into my mind, and I wanted
That's
to.
That's a shower fault, but we're not in the shower. Or are we?
Maybe we are. Maybe we aren't. Maybe it's what? Brisbane?
No, Postman Pike. Shower thought.
Postman Pike, let us know.
Shower talk with Postman Pike. Can you imagine? Hey guys, so what do you think about this one?
That's the next segment, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Let's go to a short break as we get ready for the next series of tonight. It's going to be so big. It is Antic versus Fury. 2 titans looking to make their mark. Who's going to take home the win? You'll have to be there and find out. Skimmy's excited. Tally's excited. We'll see you there.
Baseline, give you it all ones
He's after becomes the Varus. Falls down on the stopwatch. It's carnage. Only triple happening here is for Python. Oh, it's do or die.
Welcome back as we're in for the next series of the night. You know what? I'm not even going to let these guys wait. Let's look at the roster. It is Antic, the team that has been moved down into this lower bracket as well. But no, they are still a force to be reckoned with. Destiny, Raze, the 80 carry superstars looking to make their moves. But Foreigner, Zoranus, and Draku too looking so good supporting their team and making sure they are looked after. But they are up against a formidable foe. The one team that has pushed them to their limits, it is Fury. Skimmy, that looks to put a little bit of a mark in. There's a lot to these teams that you have to be careful of.
They certainly do. Yeah, this is a case of Fury actually taking a game away from them, right, with a different roster. So it's going to be very interesting to see this time, right, if they can emulate those results. We actually go one step further now with the introduction of Prey, who I'd say has been a phenomenal addition to their team and being one of the standout rookies for sure.
Well, do you think, Tally, that Prey versus Zoranus, is this like the matchup to be watching, or is there another lane we should keep an eye on too?
I think it's definitely going to be top side. I think that Zoranus is a player who, if you know, given a challenge, if someone wants to challenge him, he will definitely stand tall, stand proud, and make sure that he answers in tandem. So I'm very excited to see what this matchup's going to look like in top lane. Are we going to see something like the blind Irelia, something that counterpicks that? Is it just going to be a tank out of Zoranus because he knows that as he gets to those you know, team fights, he's just going to be much stronger, much more effective because it is competitive and it's a different game.
I want to see that crazy Aatrox gameplay, man. We've seen Prey do like, what, 2 or 3 times he's just gone, yeah, well, let's do it. 1v3 on the Aatrox and just smoted. Not even smited, smoted them. Doesn't even need the smite summoner spell, but that's okay because I'm excited to see this game regardless. We've seen such unique picks coming out of both of these teams, especially Fury with the Nefiri. We've also seen the Twisted Fate in the top side. I'm pretty keen to see what they are, but let's look at the keys to the kingdom, the keys to victory. And Skimmy, it's Destiny on Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of brainstormed this as a collection, right? Thinking, what is the best way for Destiny to be at home, but you know, be comfortable. I think a lot of that is going to come to playing Ezreal, right? Certainly, it looked like his most comfortable champ in their series last night up against Bliss. Once again, it allows your supports to roam. We know just how impactful Draku can be when given a time and a chance to shine, especially his link-up play with Foreigner, who has given us a little bit of everything. Last night was the double AP threat. He also has played the things like the Nocturne as well, be it the Viego. But there's always been this sneaking suspicion. Where is that Ivan? Bring that back. If not, maybe a cheeky Sejuani, because then we need to maintain some discipline throughout this game. Sometimes they get a little bit too excited. They make one big play. That's their ticket back in. Let's just run it back and do another play and realize, hang on a minute, we don't have those ultimates. We don't have that flash, and throw it all away again. So those certainly would be the keys to make sure that they can get the 2-0 tonight.
It is that discipline that we know Antic really needs to maintain. It is the difference between these top tier teams and Antic, which is now down in the lower bracket too. But Fury, Tally, has also got a lot to work on, but they've got a lot of good things going for them.
Yeah, they certainly do have a lot of you know, good things going for them, and I think that when they do draft together as a team, it makes the most sense, right? I think that the last time we saw these guys, they were playing the Irelia Sedge, you know, in that, you know, top jungle with Chirp on a mage. We do have mentioned that Chirp looks really good on that Yone Fury, but I feel like those champs will be removed this game, and we're probably not going to see Nox with the ability to play a mage. So I think going back to that other style where we saw Nox playing these you know, frontline champs for his you know, solo laners who are having, you know, really good performances recently is a very good key that this team needs to lock down and make sure he has clear synergy, and they need to really enable their superstar in the top lane to just, you know, take over his own lane opponent.
Let that man be, but we've got another man who is joining us on the call. It is Raze, the 80 carry mid lane god, who is joining us. Mate, looking good as always. How are you feeling this evening?
Yeah, excited to play another day. It's going to be a long week for us, so I'm ready.
It's
It's going to be a big week. Like, I know we're all prepped and mentally fortitude, just getting ready to go. But I have to ask, what's it like playing with Destiny again?
Yeah, Mitch is one of my best friends. He's probably one of my favorite teammates of all time. So yeah, I'm like happy to run it back with him one last time.
That's exactly what I want to hear. It's all about camaraderie. If that's not the oceanic sort of go-to, I don't know what is, Skimmy.
Well, that's exactly right. And I'm curious to pick your brain here, Raze, in terms of what are we cooking? What are we cooking in the mid lane? Obviously, AD carry meta is so good right now, so it's probably the perfect time, if ever, to move into the mid lane. But what kind of AP champions are we looking to try and cook with? You know that you can play Ziggs. I know you've played a few other AP mages in the past. Do you feel that you need to lean upon those, or do we go even further down the rabbit hole and bring out other AD carries like the Ezreal, like the Varus into mid lane too?
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a hard question to answer. You know, I don't want to give away any picks, but if situation ever presents itself, like I can play AP champs. I have like a couple cooked up, but it's probably just going to be ADs every game, to be honest.
I suppose in that respect as well, how good does it feel to know that Tristana is so meta and that you get diverse Corki pretty much 9 times out of 10?
Yeah, I think in any other meta, you know, I would never roll sword to mid, like in an AP meta, but just because you can play so many AD carries mid, it's just like a perfect situation for us.
Yeah, perfect. All right, Tally.
Awesome. And, you know, I want to ask Quinn, because we put one of your keys to victory tonight to, you know, get Foreigner back on the front line. And, you know, last night you guys did play double mages in the jungle, and that was like a different look from what we've seen from you guys. Usually Foreigner has a lot more proactivity in the early game, but you guys, you know, decide to go for those double mages this time. Is it going to be something you guys want to, you know, continue doing? Is it a play style that you guys are locked in doing, or are you guys still versatile in that sense?
We're still definitely versatile, but I think right now the strongest, that's probably like the easiest playstyle to, or easiest way to play the game, so it's probably like our main go-to for now.
Awesome. Excited.
I like it. Now, I'm going to finish on one quick question for you, Raze, though, because I can see your bed is extremely well made. Your room's immaculate.
Yeah.
Is this a big part of your, big part of your routine for playing games? Like, do you need to be, in a mentally clean zone to win games?
I just like being clean, you know, in general, just everywhere. If things get messy, that does affect my mental state, so just being a clean person in general does make me feel better.
I love that. So if Raze ever comes here, he's going to just lose his mind, because my room is trash.
Yeah.
Great.
Clean
All good.
person,
But
clean gameplay.
that's it.
It is.
Synergy.
Exactly.
That's,
Feel good,
that's
feel
the
good.
off-meta winning formula.
There it is. We've cracked
Well,
the code,
thank you,
boys.
Raze, so much. We do need to call it there. Thank you so much for coming on. Good luck in your games tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing something weird and wacky from you.
Well, thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
There's the
A
wave.
clean room and a wave.
I will say,
Got it all.
as someone who lived with Raze for 3 years, he always had a clean desk. Always. So, you know,
That's good.
he's the, you know, wake up early in the morning, cup of tea on the desk, clean desk.
Oh, man, I wish I was like that. I'm going to become that. Raze is now my idol. I'm going to be a clean... Well, not a clean. Raze is
Cleans
gonna
his
be
desk.
clean.
Why am I not challenger?
Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm gold, mate. That's why I'm gold. Dirty desk, dirty room. We can't even get down to gold, mate. It's fine. That's all right. I wonder what Mac was like. But no,
dear.
good to hear. Antic again, like they had the rough day yesterday. It was a bit of a tough matchup. It was a tall order. But up against Fury, could be a different story, Skimmy.
Certainly could be a different story, and that's what I'm curious about as to how they want to try and approach things, because I think you want to make Raze as uncomfortable as possible, much like the Jovi game, or the Jovi series we just saw there, right? Remove a lot of these Apex AD carries and say, yeah, I want to force you onto those mages, because that is my comfort zone, especially if we're going to be thinking that the Yone and the Theory are denied. Chirp has to go for the AP option, and you probably got your Sejuani, your Vige, your Zinzals ganking, targeting mid lane. So, yeah, I'm very curious as to the approach, but we know that Fury have done it before. Can they do it again?
Can they do it again? We'll have to ask the other side, because we do actually have Findo joining us on the desk. My beautiful friend Mitch, how are you doing, son? Hold on, what's the scene at the back there?
I like it.
Garcia, no chance. What are they doing?
No chance.
Findo
No.
pre-wave. That's so OP. You know, I gotta give it.
Pre-wave.
He's won the wave
Again,
battle.
He's won the series, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I know
Ray's
how
gonna
to
be
manage
worried now.
my
But mate,
waves.
how you feel? I'm liking the goatee. Your goatee's looking
Thanks, mate.
good. This is cleaned up,
It's very inspired by someone.
mate. Do I need to ask?
Me and Tally?
Yeah, you baby faces, mate.
Nah, I can't pull off that jawline.
Who is it?
It's Dottie. Dotty.
Look, we're trying so hard.
But mate, how are you feeling going into tonight? Are we going to see... you know what, you're just going to play Leona, aren't you?
Yeah, man, I got my Pike license revoked after losing to Mammoth, so no fun picks tonight.
Yeah,
Been
look, fair enough.
sentenced
Look,
to the
if
garage.
you did it for me... I still respected it. When I saw it, I was like, yep, we're on it. And then the loss came through and I was just like, you know what? We're still on it. Respect. But no, I'll pass it over to Skimmy. We're getting through it.
Well, that's fun. Yeah, obviously, it's great to see you boys back in action again. As we sort of mentioned, the last time you went up against Antic, you did get the 1-1. It was with Tomasino on the roster. It does feel like Prey adapts a very similar champion pool, right? All these bruises, your Aurelias, your Aatroxes, your Fioras. So is that like a key matchup that you want to try and protect? Make sure that he can get ahead and maybe split pushing comes into effect? Or we really trying to gear up for like the straight 5v5s again?
I think so. Like, we just want to endorse Chaos and try and let Prey play through the split and play how he wants to play. Like, when you get a person that's as good at solo queue as Prey, you just want to like adapt to them and not make them conform to like pro play. You just turn them into solo queue and we play around it.
I suppose to that same end, and how's he found it? Because it looks like he's hit the ground running, right? I mean, we saw that initial game on the Aatrox post rework. He clutches out the heel. We're thinking this guy's inting. Next minute, he's the Messiah. So is he just really gelled with the team and just found so much success this early on?
Yeah, he's been really good. Like, he's given a lot of like good ideas, and we kind of question him a bit because we're not used to that pace. And it's really good for everyone's learning. Like, he learns to chill out a little bit, and we learn to get a bit more ham. So it's a good balance.
Yeah, fantastic.
Love it. Tally.
And I mean, I guess I want to check in with your team because we haven't heard from you guys since, the regular season. That was very recent, but still I want to check in with your, practice. You have mentioned that you are working towards, enabling your top laner to be this, really good player, and you're not really conforming him to play his competitive style. You want to focus on, just being the best team you can. And I want to know, like, coming up against Antic tonight, is there a certain way that you want to approach the game, or you guys just want to, really, induce chaos, as you did say?
There's not really a certain way we want to play. Like, we have been prepping them for, I guess, since our last game, since we did expect Bliss to beat them. So I feel like we're pretty prepped and have a good draft edge.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Nice. All right, well, Chaos, Findo going on magical journeys, no Incursio, no chance. It's everything we've asked for. Well, mate, good luck out there. I'm expecting you to take us to a game 3. He's on it, and have fun, mate.
Thanks, guys. See you after.
Oh, way to
go. Fade away.
The
Didn't
nod.
see the wave, though, at the end.
No.
Good wave at the start, but didn't follow up with the wave afterwards. I don't know what that tells me.
Got a nod, though. That's still, a greeting in a sense, right? So it's an approval.
True.
Works.
True.
It gets us something.
I find it quite interesting, right, when he talks about Chaos, because, when Incursio was there, these were the only two teams that did go for the AD junglers and the AP mids, whereas everybody else went for the double AD carries. Now, that has changed a little bit with Raze going there. Still begs the question, does Chirp play AD carries? But, we are still expecting those Neferi Yone pocket picks to be taken off the board, because otherwise, if we go to a straight AP matchup, all of this to digest.
So much, and that's exactly what I'm going to let Tally do, because I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, this is our only playoff matchup so far that isn't a 2-0 start, I believe. And, after that final interview, I am very excited about this matchup because, a lot of people would say, oh, it's an Antic 2-0, right? They're really favored to win. But I think both these teams approach the game very similarly. And when they mention, inducing chaos and making the game as, volatile as possible, which Antic continued to do yesterday, and which, Fury have apparently prepared for the game state to be in, could favor them. And it could be these scenarios based on draft. They could come out ahead if this game is going to be a very, very rocky one.
Well, it's the two red sides was the answer to the win, so that could be a little bit of an indicator to where these teams like to play as well. Getting that counter pick could be quite crucial, but both teams having quite severe roster changes could change that up as well. But we'll have to wait and see, as that's going to look pretty dicey as we're moving forward. But let's have a look at that side select as we can see what teams decided to go where, and it is Antic picking blue side. Okay.
Yeah, no surprises. I think we're going to see this more and more and more. I think it was a little bit interesting that Direwolves opted for the red side so much in that last series, but I still believe that, it's going to be another chance for these teams to showcase what their priority is. We're seeing so many different takes on the meta. It could be the Rumble, could be the Israel, could be the Cool Kitchesteiner trade. With so many options up, it's very interesting to see how these different metas are combining, and then the differences in skill disparity, what their own take on top of that is as well.
Yeah. Well, Twitch votes are ready to go. No fancy intro for that, unfortunately, but just up there in the corner, pop them in. It's always nice to do. Let's have a look at our predictions while Twitch chat's doing theirs with a very basic intro to that. Well, keep it smooth sailing. It's like jazz. Let's have a look at where we're sitting and where we're putting our favors in. And, ooh, you guys are very, very much the same, aren't you? All right.
Skimmy, hold up.
Oh, we copied each other's homework without copying it. These are all privately DM'd into our producer, but it seems that we're very much aligned.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I would say I was, you know, it's very hard to give like a 2, you know, a very like, I'm very heavily favored for this player, right? Because, you know, that would consider that they're probably like the best player in their respective role. So I think that while I am, you know, very heavily Antic favored, I think that they aren't going to be, you know, the most dominant this game. I think that we're probably going to see the, you know, the jungle and support linking up. That's where I expect most of the lead to come from Antic. And then I think they will win in the team fight aspect, not so much the laning phase.
Well, I can also see down the bottom the full-on predictions. I've gone for a 2-1. You guys have gone for both 2-0s for Antic. Look, the reason why I've gone for that is I think this team, Fury, I mean, has something that they can pull out. They've shown that they can do something. They've beaten them once before. Why can't they do it again? So I'm curious to see how it's going to look. But yeah, my predictions, look, let's not worry about it. I was feeling very spicy about it too. I was keen for it. We'll have to see what that spice is going to turn into. Korma curry. Could be like a Penang curry. I don't know. Spices are ready, but there's a game with spice. So let's get into it and go have a meal, guys.
Well, let's have a meal. Let's witness the new drip check out of Draku. I mean, this guy's feeling ready to go. We've already got Violet rocking the 15 layers of jackets. Maybe that is the jacket buff. These bot laners are just freezing down south in the Arctic.
Yeah, it is, you know, very cold recently. Myself, you know, at this point of the night scheme, usually I've really warmed up from talking so much and, you know, the lights being on me. But still really cold, so I might, you know, sneak on some socks to warm myself back up to get, you know, some energy flowing for this absolute banger of a game that is going to come up with the Zyra being locked in first. This was Foreigner's, you know, #1 priority when it came to those AP junglers.
Certainly was, yeah. Last night it was all about those AP junglers. It was the Zyra, it was then the Carfist. But I like the bans, right? It's to be expected the Ivan's always going to be denied, and I think that Neferi is a fair trade in response if we're talking about some of those pocket picks. Whilst the Rumble and Corki is a known quantity, the Ashe and Sejuani is starting to rise up the ranks. And it feels like we are a bit of a late bloomer when it comes to showing respect to that Sej in particular. So with the Corki denied, and with that Zyra being first pick, that makes a lot of sense that Fury say, well, if you give us this Tristana and Ezreal, of course we're going to snap that one up.
So we finally get to see a new champion from Raze this game because, you know, with that Tristana being taken away from Chirp, first time we're going to see him playing that one for itself. But Corki being banned, we've only seen Raze play 2 champions so far. It was the 2 games of Corki, 2 games of Tristana. So this time, we're going to see a different AD carry from him in the mid lane, most likely. Going to be that Lucian going towards that mid lane. So not a champion who is known to counter the Tristana, but this is just that AD carry prowess that he has, and he knows these matchups like the back of his hand, right? Very comfortable taking this one into the mid lane and fulfilling that AD role that he needs to on the team.
And when I did see the Draven hover, I was thinking, wow, wouldn't this be hectic? Draven 1v1ing in the mid lane, saying, yeah, Tristana, trade with me. I dare you, catch these axes and catch this gold lead, because I'll be cashing in time and time again. It feels like such a long time since we've seen solo lane Lucian. Out then comes the Cassante, a champion that obviously Zoranis is very, very comfortable with. And they've wasted no time whatsoever. Praises, Camille is the go.
Yeah, and I think that Cassante is a really nice champ to blind pick just because he is that tank. He can teamfight, but he can also deal with these, you know, side lane threats in the Camille, the Irelia, the Fiora that Prey is really known for. But something that is to note here, Skimmy, is the fact that Destiny did not pick with the Ezreal being removed. If they do ban the Kai'Sa Zeri, which, you know, they're not, but if they did, I was really curious to what he would pick because we haven't really seen his champion pool being pushed yet, and something about role swaps is that you do not have a large champion pool to deal with, so if you do get pinched, you're really put in scenarios where you're uncomfortable, and we saw how effective that was in the last series.
Certainly was the case, and also I think as we discussed at great lengths, can Chirp play an AD carry? Well, you got the Tristana and the Ezreal, so certainly that must be a resounding yes, which adds yet another layer of like, how do we target this individual? Incredibly aggressive. And in the latter stages of the split, it's shown that he has a big champion pool to work with as well. That would be his 10th unique champion, making him tied as the biggest champion pool in the mid lane, which is pretty impressive to say the least, as the rail does denied. The Carfist from the Antic side having already locked in their Zyra. And it does mean that Nox can, if he chooses to, still go for that AP threat.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to how this draft's going to be run. I think one of the things when it came to the Zyra-Tristana interaction was the fact that, you know, even though this Tristana was getting really fed the last time Antic played Bliss, you know, when having the double mage jungle matchups was the fact that Raze couldn't do damage, right? I think that Tristana's one of her weaknesses is that she needs to be enabled to do damage. She does a lot of it, but unless she can jump in, she doesn't really have, a slow or, a stun to enable her to, do all the damage that she needs to. Great side laner, great laner, but, I think she has range issues until she gets to that ultra late game point where, she has that level 18, where she has that, 750 plus auto range, and she can really, outspace these champions. But until that point, always struggle to get into the, these team fights and do damage, especially against a champ like Zyra, who is so good at creating and denying space for her team and the enemy team.
And space is certainly what Lilia needs, right? A lot of it. Needs to get those zonias, needs to be a menace, needs to have that flash, I think, more than anything, right? To hit those massive lilting lullabies that can be game-winning, game-deciding, to say the least. It's been a hot minute since he last played it. Last played up against Ion, a series a good few weeks ago. And with the Kaiser not being denied, it's so easy for them to lock in instantly the Kaiser not pairing.
Yeah, and I really like the drafts that have come through from both sides. So I think this is classic Antic. This is pretty much what they were drafting in the last series we saw them. The double AD carry, mage, tank, and the double frontline. I think this is a very staple draft coming out of Antic, and Fury have gone for themselves the very similar match with the double AD carries, but they get the counter pick in the top lane, they get the counter pick in support, and they get the trade of mage jungler. So it's just going to be gameplay and execution when it comes down to these skirmishes to me. I really like the Braum. I'm a fan of Braum. I think that skirmish power is, very, very underrated, and I think that Braum with double 80 carries, or with even, Camille with that auto reset, a very strong champion when it comes to these skirmishes.
So many different easy ways to try and proc that one. Had a bit of time, right, to deliberate between is it the Alistar or is it the Braum? And I think the Braum, as you mentioned, already makes a little bit more sense. You don't need to necessarily be as aggressive on the front foot charging at them. That's exactly what Antic want to do with things like the Killer Instinct, the All Out, and the Lucian dashing at you. So if you've got the ability to lock them down, they're going to have to think twice, perhaps second guess themselves. And you've always got that splish flash, split pushing pressure with the Camille. But a Cassante that can definitely, if given a chance, actually handle that.
Yeah, and I think that both teams have dealt or drafted answers for, their respective lanes. So I think that it's nice to see that we aren't getting the, one-dimensional, I can only teamfight comp. We have side laners from both teams. We have the engage tools from both teams. I think that Antic's engage tool is much more reliable, right? The Norlist dredge line is a much easier one to hit, whereas you look at Fury comp, it's going to rely on Prey finding members out of position, or Nox finding that flash, lilting lullaby, finding the sleep on multiple members, but that is just not reliable, right? You really need your flash to be able to execute that. You're not going to have that all the time, whereas, Prey doesn't want to dive in by himself, and, his matchup is fine, but there isn't really that follow-up from the rest of his team to enable that champ to really take over.
Certainly isn't, Tally. Certainly isn't. Let's see, though, how these two teams are going to function as they look to kick off their campaign here in the lower bracket. Antic already warmed up from their last night's series into Bliss, getting 2-0'd in a pretty convincing fashion. Fury sat in the side lanes, watching in anticipation, hoping that their prep was sound to not only emulate, but actually go one step beyond and actually cause an upset by removing Antic in the lower bracket. That is the big one we're looking at here. And I think in terms of also the champions, you mentioned before, the Lucian, which we just do not see whatsoever, actually being played a fair bit overseas in those top regions, with 17 games in the mid lane and only 2 in the bot lane. And being an AD carry main that Raze is, this would be the best time to showcase you cannot ban me out. People have tried in the bot lane, you're not going to find success in the mid.
Yeah, and this is I would say a Chobi special, the Lucian. We've seen him have so much success on the core key in LCK. We haven't really seen him play any of the Tristana yet, but when that core key is taken away, he is prioritizing the Lucian. He likes those lane dominant AD carries, or the ones that can, space the lane opponents and aren't, really lacking their range, because Lucian does have the culling, and everyone knows how powerful that spell does get as the game goes on. The only concern I really have with the Antic comp is just the way they were playing yesterday, Skimmy. They were so, foot on the pedal, wanting to attack everything, but, that is not what you want to do when you have a Zyra in the game. You want to play a lot more, vision control, zone control, set up around objectives, make sure you're fighting around the seeds, and you can't just, continually engage all over the map, because the champ just is not good at that. She's not fast, she doesn't follow up dive. Whereas, you look at Fury's comp, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to skirmish all the time. They want to fight as much as possible, and I think that these teams share their identities, down to a T. So I think that Fury have, really drafted more towards what they like to do as a team, how they like to play, that chaos style that they did mention in the interview. So I think that in that sense, they have, done a good job in the draft. But in the sense of a team comp, I think Antic have done much better.
Yeah, and it does really scream to me that can we play around Fono to empower him, right? There's nothing worse than planting all your seeds. They can't flourish because the team has just run away from you thinking, well, how can I help now? I'm nothing more but a caster min. Out goes the exhaust onto Draku. We're not even level 2 yet, Tally. And we're already having a bit of a biff here in the bot lane. Hit that wave, hit that minion, get to level 2. Didn't have another stab at things.
That's the exhaust being put on cooldown for Fino there, but no summons being committed from the Antic bot lane. They do have the barrier on the Ezreal, so they have a lot more, all-in pressure, right? The cleanse is mainly for that Lily asleep in that mid game, whereas, you would want to go for the heal or the barrier for a lot more lane power. So they are still getting that push, and that is going to be a favorable trade for Antic in that initial trade in the early game. That's just the power of, Norlis being able to proc, 2 of the 4 stacks from the Kai'Sa passive with that Q at level 1.
Yeah, so easy to stabilize things out, to counteract what an Ezreal and Braum want to achieve. Nice and safe, plenty of protection, skill shot projectiles that can just simply be denied. And a matchup as the viewers also, once again, believing that it is nearly 90% Antic favored. Let's see then, after this draft and after this game, if that does, curb the fan vote in a different direction. But things are getting a little bit cold. You can see the players getting themselves as warm as they can be. A chance to settle into the series.
LCO being
and a chance to, figure out what is the play.
Yeah, and I think the play right now is to just, these junglers want a full clear, right? They do not want to interact when it comes to, salvaging lanes that are in bad scenarios or, forcing themselves to counter gank. They really just want to, clear, and in that downtime, either look for the crabs or look for some fights. But we see Prey using that priority already to impact the mid lane, but Prey's doing a good job hovering aside.
There certainly is. Instant flash away, making sure that Prey can't find success. Just a single auto, not to be empowered by the Q, is there. So no chance to take him out yet. The flash is being burnt. That's the big one. Does still have that relentless pursuit to rely upon thereafter.
Yeah, still going to be a trade in favor of Raze here. Lucian has a lot more upfront burst, but Prey is staying around, has the flash.
So patient, so persistent, so keen to shut this man down in the mid lane. 3 members get involved. Oh no, Fono went in for a flash to try and hit the root and deny that. But how do you play safe when only 4 minutes in, you're getting camped by 3?
Yeah, a lot of resources being put into the mid lane there from Fury. They want to make sure that this, AD carry matchup, which is very volatile, is being swung in the way of their team, right? So we see Prey using the 3-way price he got from, his champion counter pick, going towards the mid lane, committing both hook shots and the flash to finding Raze and making sure that he is shut down. It's still going to be an okay, lane state for Raze, right? He did fall down, but he did have control of the lane, and he does find himself an okay first base, right? Not the best, not the worst, but still going to be in a position where he can, win through his prowess on this AD carry.
Certainly can be, right? And I feel like we're still going to be looking at a very similar build where you have your Sheen proc into your rapid fire cannon with all that burst that we've seen in the past, but certainly not with the empowerment of a Nami there behind you. Well, here's one. We've got the opinion of Biopanther coming in saying that Antic should win this one 2-1, actually giving a vote in favor of Fury, thinking, yeah, they're just more versed in this meta, and they should just showcase that experience. And I think for me, that is the kicker. Yes, Fury have some spicy picks, but they haven't really had a chance to showcase it tonight in this initial opening game.
Yeah, and I think that being versed, being able to play multiple styles is so important in these best of series especially, and I think it was Harry who was the only one who predicted correctly on that last series, so, shout out to him. Probably the best player in the region and the smartest man as well, so, securing himself those points for himself, so good job to Harry, and I think that being versatile as a team is so important because, if in this first game, Antic, this is the 3rd time they're running this draft identity, if it just falls flat again, if it just does not work out for them, last time you could have said, oh, Bliss is such a good team, they can really deal with this, and they just had good answers, but, if they lose to Fury on this sort of comp, they might feel pressured to completely change it up, and that's why being versatile is so nice for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. You can see Raze here getting very aggressive, trying to answer a bit of damage into Chirp, but he just simply turns around, plants the explosive shot, hits him a few times, stacks that one up and says, you don't beat me. I am Tristana. I'm a mid laner at this stage for a very good reason. Zominus also under threat as Prey keeps him locked underneath that tower. And with the assistance of Nox and a cheeky little smite to make Prey a bit mad, they will push that wave in. They will give him the base that he's been after.
Level 6 on both mid lanes, but this is heavily in favor of Chirp. Foreigner needs to push his wave out to allow Raze to get a reset, because if he is caught in this 1v1, the Tristana ult is front-loaded damage, right? It comes out straight away, it will do that that full amount straight away, and Lucian culling is about, damage over time. You need to land all those bullets, and he needs to get out of this position right now. Either going to go for the base, or he's going to go find the lemons in the river to heal up a bit. This one will be spawning right now, so does get himself, a bit of lane control thanks to Foreigner helping him out here, but Prey is not here, where we see Draco being freed up. They are the first ones to this objective, but there is a level 6 advantage going to Nox right now.
Out of the shadows comes Draku, full combo deployed on Nox's head. He didn't know, he didn't respond, and there's no flash to get himself out of that situation. So as easy as you like it, the better response time from Antic with the more members in the area, and these hooks that continue to land does mean that all three grubs go the way of Antic.
Yeah, we mentioned that we wanted Destiny to be on a champion to allow Draku to roam, right? We wanted to free him up, but, you know, either way, you know, when you're versing Ezreal, you are going to be put in that 1v1 scenario because both supports do want to roam, and Draku, a player who is known to be very good at, you know, finding those timings on these roams. He's been around for a very long time. He's familiar with those scenarios, and he's the first one to the grubs. Nox does not respect that, and even though he does have that little advantage, you cannot survive, you know, a hook landing on your head.
You certainly cannot. So back to back they go. Or back to lane they should go, I should say. As the Kaiser matchup into the Ezreal, certainly a nice one for them to just passively farm up and say, you know what, here's your wave, ping pong it back to me, and you take it as a response. But a very calm, measured affair so far. Only 7.5 minutes into this one. A killer piece in all the right places. Yeah, I mean, for Prey, absolutely. Maybe not so much for Draku, but it certainly could help in making sure that he's as tanky as he possibly can be. Prey's going to hit the Hexagon to made him. Zona says it's my time to go all out. Doesn't take him across the wall. No assassination attempts on this occasion, but it's going to force a bit of a panic flash to try and juke and jive and showcase that, yeah, you might be good, Prey, but it's all hype. I'm the real one, and I am him. Nice little bowling ball, going to be sidestepped out of, but you can't dodge everything. Skill shots galore here in the bot lane. Destiny needs to run for the hill. Supercharge goes out as they knock everybody up with the Fawns. But Fury just simply walk away.
That bowling ball missed by Astronomy. If that one did connect onto Destiny, he already blew that cleanse to get out of the exhaust there. So that would have been the Lilsing blow by going onto him. And a potential kill going onto Nox as well. But Nox does have the flash. I think Destiny might be overstaying here. Very
Oh my god, don't die. Don't die to the caster minions. Do not die to the caster minions! 20 HP.
Ooh, that would have been a
20 HP.
clipped, shipped, gift posted in every single Discord ever known, and one did never ever lived down for the rest of your career. So thank God he did live there. Draku once again finding time on the map to, you know, allow some freedom for his mid laner, just making sure his mid laner is able to play the game at all times, being that human ward. And this matchup is so important. It is right now seeing that even position just because there's no AD coming out of Lucian right now. So if these, you know, Qs do land, they're just not doing a lot of damage, whereas Tristana's base damage much higher. So much easier time for Chirp in that mid lane, especially does have that, you know, fleet. So he has some sustain in this matchup, whereas Raze, who does not have the damage to all in and really abuse the press attack that he has.
You can see constantly though trading back, but it always is Chirp favoured, and I'm sure it's just going to take that one item spike for it to then flip itself around. Kraken Slayer to come out, you'd imagine, then from Chirp, and curious to see what Raze decides to build first, whether or not he feels that Kraken is the right option, or if the Essence Reaver would be better suited for his first purchase to, you know, patch up those minor issues and really up that damage in those trading profiles. Once again, Nox peeking his head into top lane, but Draku has other ideas. Drop the entire combo onto Hooper. The door goes up. Destiny dashes behind it with the killer instinct. Cops all these turret shots. He nearly dies again. Tally, 20 HP in a dream. This guy's psycho. Draku is the GOAT though. That hook is criminal.
I have not seen a hook miss so far this entire game, and, you know, unfortunately Destiny ults in before that wall does go down, so he cannot find that last order to get the execute onto Hooper. Lives with a minuscule amount of health again, and we saw that Nox was poking his head into the top side. Zonas did not have that all out, so it was a potential gank chance, but now that one is back up, and now that he does have that frozen fist to a Sheen and components of Prey, it's a very tough matchup on this side, or this top lane right now, and will get even, you know, worse as time does go on.
And it is nice to see the Camille get handled right so many times, especially when it was TM playing it week in, week out. We're wondering, what beats this champion? Well, if you have a strong enough answer in the laning phase, you don't need to rely upon jungle ganks and 3v3s to turn it all around. Raze, though, is looking for the culling, and Nox is flashing to safety. No ultimate, no chance to turn it around.
So we see that, you know, Chirp did not match the base of Raze. You know, Raze did base and get those Ninja Tabbies to be able to deal with the pressure that Tristan outputs in lane. Chirp extended his laning phase, and gonna be able to find that Kraken Slayer on this buy most likely. So huge power spike for Chirp in the mid lane, and he is going to be that main pain point for Antic right now. He is, and going to be that main boon for Fury. He needs to be enabled by his team. He needs to find those skirmishes with the rest of the members. But another hook lands, but no one to follow up this time.
I just love it. Draku's like an advent calendar. You just open up, oh, what do I find in here today? It's a Nautilus. Why is he here? Like, it's just popping out of a bush. And you're just so confused. Like, how is he on the top half of the map? This guy is roaming like you would not believe it. And that's the interesting thing, right? Destiny is here as well. They really want to invest in those grubs. But Hoop is stuck to his guns, staying bot side. So Antic do have all 6 grubs to their name and get a lot of chip damage for free.
this is really nice for Zonus, right? Because I think one of the major win conditions for Fury is their side lane. So, you know, based on his lane state, Zonus is going to be getting a lot of free time in that bot side. Hooper cannot pressure him at all, whereas he can clear the wave, he can farm. This Zonus on this Cassandra is going to be farming up solo experience, whereas, you know, pressure is going on to Prey. He's going to miss out on some CS, he's going to miss out on, you know, as much gold as he could possibly get, but it's still a very, you know, even trade for both teams, right? Objectives being got on bot side, gold being garnered all over the map, and they still have that pride in the mid lane, Fury, so not such a bad scenario. And with Findo being in the back pocket of Prey, there is no dive pressure onto Prey right now.
And it certainly isn't. Freebie then for Fury to pick up that Dragon with the pressure bot, as well as mid. Very hard for Raze to answer back, or at least take control of the lane without any kind of intervention. They are trading even Stevens in terms of the CS, and Chirp will just couple turret shot, and that's all it takes for Raze to say, yeah, out goes the culling. But with Nox constantly hovering, they cannot find much more than that. Foreigner's been on a bit of a jungle expedition himself, farming up a treat, and then says, you know what, let's just poke our head into the top lane and make sure that Prey suffers even more and is unable to find that first item purchase. The hooks, they continue to land. Draku just does not miss, and now plays protection. Peels with the depth charge, says that Hexagon met him. It will do absolutely nothing. Once again, Destiny coming in clutch, covering so much ground with the killer instinct, and that's his first kill of the game.
I was going to mention, Skimmy, that I would prefer if Antic, you know, because they can't dive this top side right now, that they use their priority to impact the mid lane and make sure Raze is allowed a bit of freedom in his matchup right now, because it's quite one-sided going in favor of Chirp. But they do, you know, go for that initial dive, blow the wall, make sure there is no denial of that damage that comes forward. The second hook lands, probably another 100% hook rate, hook hit rate. That's a bit of a tongue twister. And yeah, they find the double kill, and it's so good for them. Finding kills onto Destiny allowed to have some pressure in the side lane, but Chirp on this side lane once again getting so much gold.
Yeah, and he's been uncontested, right? Nobody's looked to try and actually challenge him at this stage. It's been hard for Raze to answer back in isolation. Foreigner's not been too keen to entertain it just yet. And I don't think Destiny fares any better up against the Kaiser, especially because you're going to be behind in levels and behind in items. Now a 2-level discrepancy between those two. Doesn't want to do anything that involves Chirp in his lane. And that begs the question, who does challenge him? It is going to be Raze one more time. But this feels like a very macro-heavy game where we're just rotating time and time again. As Chirp, looking in the shadows, was fading that recall. It's the all-in between 280 carries, but the numbers just weren't enough. Raze survives. Foreigner's here, and I think the plants might just get it done.
Yeah, and that's the, you know, the nice thing about Tristana, right? You raise very, very minuscule amount of health. There would have been 20 to 30 health that he had left there. The nice thing about Tristana in that 1v1 is you can throw the ulti out, and it will do that upfront damage with the 200 to 300, whereas, you know, Raze always has to hold his culling. You know, the main advantage of Lucian in this matchup is you can, you know, use that culling at range, but he always has the, Chirp has the jump to outplay that one, so the favor always goes towards the Tristana in the 1v1, even though they do have even items right now in the inventory. It's just much nicer for the Tristana when it comes to those duels.
Another hook, another success rate. He keeps it up, and at this stage you'll be saying get off the Nautilus back onto Blitzcrank, because they just do not miss at this point of the game. But it's nice to see, right? Because Nox, so well known for his full clearing on these AP junglers, is getting outpaced here by Foreigner, who says, well, not only do I have more camps than you, I've actually got more kills than you too. And the Zyra impact is being felt.
Yeah, I think that's just... Oh, I will hold my points. We see the looking at coming out, but that is being buffed, Skimmy.
He's going to be buffed out as Zornis will engage that 1v3, goes all out, shreds his own resistances because he wants more damage. Two-man Glacial Fissure, knock them up, but turn it around with the Nautilus. That does just a little bit better. Where are you running, Nox? We have champions that have Season 10 mobility and so much more. Destiny gets that double kill. And he's really coming into his own now on the AD carry position.
Yeah, that's a really, really nice skirmish by Zornis in particular. You know, using both of the Pathmakers to absorb some sort of CC, right? The first one went into that Lilting Lullaby. The second one went into the Braum passive. So he was avoiding all the lockup the enemy had and bought so much time for his team to collapse. And Nox, strong right now with the Leandries. But if you walk in and you get hit by the Death Charge coming out of Dragu, you're dead. Pretty much. There's just way too much damage on the side of Antic.
Certainly has been the MVP at this stage so far, has Draku. Zornis initially is the one to be called out, but you just buff for it and then like, uh-oh, we're stuck.
Yeah, you can't put the man to sleep when he holds up his shield, you know. He's had too much sleep already, so you see really nice play by Zornis. Destiny biding on his time, waiting for the initial engage to come out, and then he finds that killer instinct to execute Nox. And Prey, it's too late to this fight, can't find any of the crucial members, doesn't have the damage to execute Destiny on the exit here either, and this Kaiser is certainly online with 2 items.
Very, very strong. Static Shiv, Rage Blade, all you could ask for. So they're going to try and outpace that of the Ezreal. that Hooper is working tirelessly towards. Already has the Trinity Force online, 309 stacks of that tier, Mirror Mana. Not too far away then, you would imagine, as that next purchase. But it does become a case now as to objective control. That all stems from the mid lane, and that's what Antic are winning out as well.
I want to see what Destiny's deciding to max second, because a lot of the time with this AP Kai'Sa, they do like to put points in the W rather than the E, because you do have so much attack speed. But he's deciding to go for that E max second. I think that with the Kai'Sa, you really want to get those 5 points in that Void Seeker as soon as possible. But doesn't matter how many points you have in the Void Seeker when you have the hook line sinker from Dracu.
Doesn't matter when you've got the boys. They creep up before and say, "You shall not enjoy this game." Nice little TP away. And everybody survives.
Well, okay, that was very interesting. Finder had the ulti, but doesn't want to cancel the TP there. I thought that would have been Raze going down if he did, but just TP's away to this mid lane to cover a part of the map, right? Because his team is on the bot side of the map. He doesn't want to be on the top side by himself, leave that mid tower exposed, and leave himself susceptible to a counter trade on the other side of the map.
Oh my god, look how much value that kill on Prey has actually netted them. They've summoned their Herald, they've completely broken bot lane. It doesn't exist anymore with those 6 scrubs, and it feels like we're a broken record saying it, but just getting those 20 seconds of free time to do as you please, that whole lane's gone.
Yeah, and this is what our top teams in OSA, or like the really good teams in OSA, are known for, right? They know how to win a game. They know how to get as much goals as possible when you falter a bit. And we see another gauge coming out, Skimmy.
Dracu once again leading the line. Stranglethorns locks in place Hooper, but he flashes out to safety. Arcane shifts actually, but gets sniped apart by Zorinus. He goes all out, says, "I'm bored, you know what? Target switch time," and takes down Nox instead. And this pressure from Antic really is second to none.
And this is such a different look from Zorinus, right? We saw him play Cassante in that last game against Bliss as well. He was trying his best to carry that one, but unfortunately, you can only do so much when your team is very far behind. But this, he looks so strong on this champion. It's a tank, which is really nice for his team overall and how the dynamic works. And also, watching this team fight, he's a carry as well. He can assassinate these members. He takes Hooper out of the fight completely. A really nice engage from him, and then he finds himself flanking the backline thanks to this all-out. And Nox all of a sudden is like, "Oh, I don't have flash." And there's a really fed Cassante on me. Unlucky.
Thank you so much, Hooper, for giving him the taxi service into our backline, basically, right? And now you find yourself down very close to 7,000 and some more. And that is allowing an Antic to go back to base and shop it up and, basically hit that second item power spike. And there you have it. Destiny really is on one right now.
There we go.
4-0-4 with nearly 9,000 gold. And I tell you what, if that was any other champion, that hook still lands. The 100% dream, it's over.
Yeah, you know what? We'll say it still counts, because he didn't miss it, all right? Hooper dodged it. It's a different case. So we'll say he still has that 100% hit rate when it counts. But Sherp, being a bit overextended here, is going to walk around. He suspects a bit of danger, but just not.
Where do you go, Chip?
Where do you go?
Where do you run to? There's actually nowhere to run to, unfortunately. And for all that strong work in the laning phase, it's the coming together of Antic that's actually able to put it down.
But this was, I would say, a bit of an over-rotation scheme. They left their mid tower exposed. Destiny was the one who needs to be here. Does have that cleanser, the Lilting Lullaby does go out.
And it certainly does. Gets cleansed out of. Destiny holds his own for a second, but Dracu once again with the backup of Foreigner says, "Who are we focusing down, boys? Who do we kill?" They take everybody.
Kill instinct.
They look at Findo. They've already locked in place Nox. And the hook again! Unbeatable. And certainly Dracu wants to say, "I want this MVP vote." I'm trying my hardest.
Oh, and the Ignite doesn't get him on time. The Ocean Dragon or the Ocean Rift, Lemon save his life. So thank you, Riot RNG, for allowing Nox to get back to base anyway. And probably going to be a 20-minute Baron, as we saw that entire time that fight was happening. Foreigner was pathing over to this Baron, setting up his seeds, getting ready for the potential ult cast. He is still holding that one though, so not going to be going down as fast as possible. This is a true shot, but Skimmy.
Oh, supercharged clutch timing there. You got to dodge the Baron spit. You got to dodge that true shot barrage. You got to dodge everything coming towards you. There is no honey fruit. Destiny's in a bit of trouble right now. Has no sustain. Now has no mana. Not going to be a real contributor if this Baron were to go any further. So rightfully so, they do disengage away from it. And this game is so much in their control. 14 kills to 2. Why take that gamble?
And we see them reset, Skimmy. We don't see them go for that back-to-back play. So this is the discipline we wanted to see out of Antic. They faltered a bit. They went for the Baron play. They, didn't find it. They got shut down. They already chunked from that initial or the last play that they did. And now they are resetting and they're going to come back on the map as 5. Zorin is going to go to the bot side of the map to answer Prey. Does have that TP and does win that side lane very hard. So he's completely happy to be down that bot side of the map. But Antic just want to continue to set up for this Baron. I want to see them go for that top side vision control first, as they do have, the outer tower and the inner tower on the top side of the map, so they can get very deep control. push the enemy out of the jungle, and then, you know, you can walk back to that Baron pit and start that objective.
Yeah, they certainly can. Double TPs available for those top laners that are currently sat on the other end of the map. Whether or not it really is the case of starting up the Baron time and time again with a constant threat that, look, this Zyra can just solo it if you leave us to our own devices, or if it's just a case of we want to burn your TPs, we want to always be in control of the macro advantages. There is the full combo dropped on down, but Fury are fully aware of this, guys. They know, and they're setting up. But there's a deep TP flank coming out from Zoranis. Who can he find? That to be matched here by Prey. The Baron's being claimed. Foreigner's secured it. The fight breaks out. Fino's the focus. Nox goes down. Fino limps away, but Zoranis takes him despite being exhausted. And there's Ntofo strikes just at a range from clutching at Chirp instead. Raze then dashes at Hoop and says, did you miss me in the bot lane? I bet you did! But they trade 1-for-1!
I just got some Raze vs Kazi flashbacks. Anyone remembers from Worlds where he, you know, did a bit of BM and fell down 1-for-1 there. So, you know, there is that Hooper trade onto Raze, so they do get some shutdown, they do get some semblance of a trade. But, you know, the reason why they felt so comfortable to start that Baron scheme is Nox does not have flash. You cannot get into the pit. There is no blast cone. That one was denied. A very easy setup for them, you know, with Draken constantly playing the flank, sitting in these bushes and finding these dredge lines. It's such an easy setup for them.
Fantastic siege as a result then, utilizing the fact that you're down for a good 20 seconds. We've not only opened up the mid lane, we've crushed the top lane, taking that inhibitor, and all that great work 10 minutes prior exposing bot lane. Antic are working step by step closer to that checkmate position.
Yeah, absolutely, but this dragon is up. This is a, you know, objective bounty, so there's going to be some gold going towards Fury if they're able to secure this one. But Raze does have the TP, throwing that one to mid lane. The members are coming on the map from Antic. They might not get the objective, but they are certainly ready to fight, especially with Draken going to the wall here.
True shot tries to try and back it up. That's to be claimed by Nox. Steady hands this time around. Nox has to try and fight his way out of this dragon pit, though. He's been completely separated from the rest of the team. Pounced upon by 3 members. It seems like a done deal. The hook buffered against the wall in an awkward terrain. He might, with the innate mobility as a Lilia, be able to gallop himself to safety.
Didn't see him run down. They do not have vision on him right now, so unfortunately we can see the Krogs, but Destiny cannot. So they lose control of where Nox went, so it's going to be him getting the reset off after he steals the camp. So Nox is quite happy with himself there. But it's going to be the siege onto the, you know, the last standing very low towers of Fury, and I think this is going to be a triple inhibitor going down and potential game end if Dracu does find these clutch hooks that he keeps landing.
Yeah, that's all it's going to take. 1 kill and the game is done. Those minions with the Baron buff on top of that tally, it is so hard to try and get it out of that. As the hook goes out, that baits out Final with the shield. The True Shot Barrage comes on too. That's a big cooldown that they need to rely upon. Stuck in such a rough spot is Prey, who hits the Hextech Ultimatum, but that is simply not enough. The experiment of split pushing hasn't panned out for them. 1 and 5 now. As Antic, look, Dracu, it came down to the very last moment. No. The perfect record has to be broken right at the end there. But this is looking like Antic wanting to wrap things up. And in a very clean fashion tally, 25 minutes, 21 kills. Something big needs to change or Fury getting sent home.
Yeah, and that's the, you know, the great thing about Best of Series. You know, Fury can go back and be like, all right, guys, we tried this approach. You know, we do have different weapons in our arsenal that we can prepare for the next game. So let's change it up, because what we saw right now, even though Fury had a nice early game, especially Chirp on that 1v1 in the mid lane, it didn't matter. The Antic's map play, Antic's team play was overall, you know, just way better, and they just overcame pretty much every obstacle Fury was putting in their way.
Yeah, they certainly did. They had the priority pick. They had the pick of the litter and said, you know what, Raze, we're going to try and make you as uncomfortable as you can. And whilst it worked for the first few moments in the laning phase, once the team grouped up as a squad, it was too much to bear. At the break then, it's Antic that lead this series 1-0.